So for this week's lesson, I decided to do something that can be given away as a nice gift. This is something that we can do very commonly here, especially in junior high construction with the tools that we have. We can make some nice gifts for Mother's Day, Father's Day, other special events in our lives, birthdays, that kind of thing. It's a great thing that you can do for others and doesn't cost you a lot of money, and it creates something that's very special to you and to the person that you're giving it to as well. So what I decided to do is find a pattern that was actually created by somebody else because it makes it a little bit easier. So I went onto Easel and did a search for spoons. We're going to make a wooden spoon today. I've already started carving it a little bit. So I found the plan, got the measurements, got the wood cut out on the table saw, and used some double-sided tape to stick it down here to our wasteboard. And then I started carving, and I realized I got to turn the camera on so you guys can all see what we're doing here. So what it's going to do is carve out the outside of the spoon. I've got the pattern right here, outside of the spoon, and then whoever designed it designed a bunch of little ovals that get deeper and deeper and deeper to create the inside of the spoon. So it should work out fairly well, I hope. And then we'll have to do some carving and a few other things from there, and I'll walk you through that process of how to make a wooden spoon. So what I decided to do on the CNC machine was to add a little personalization by adding the words Kate Chegwin in the handle, and it looks pretty good. It didn't go quite as deep as that I'd hoped in the plan, so what I'll have to do is kind of scoop that out with some carving tools, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But the first thing we're going to do now, once it's got the shape, is we're going to finish cutting the outside on the bandsaw. So you can go ahead and watch that, and then we'll take it to the big belt sander right beside us, and we'll do some sanding just to get the basic shape that we want. We won't carve it this way or cut it this way just yet, but we will get the outside shape that we want. So we'll set up our bandsaw. Remember, it's a 1/4 inch above the wood, and turn the machine on. All right, welcome back. So far we have our spoon into its shape. We have Kate Chegwin engraved on the side. And what we're gonna do next is clean out the inside of the spoon part. We kind of have to dig in there. It's hard to do, so you have to use a tool like this, a carving tool that's been honed right here to get inside to dig some of it out. And then we'll use sandpaper for the rest. After that, we'll go to the router and clean off some of the sides, and maybe make the shape a little bit different on the bandsaw. So we'll see how it goes. So with the carving tools, I've cleaned out the inside and I sanded it just a little bit, so it looks pretty good. It could go a little bit deeper, but I think I'm going to leave that for now. So what I've done is I've drawn a template or a guide on the outside of what I want the shape of the spoon to look like. I'm going to go to the bandsaw and try and get that shape. The next step will be going to the big belt sander and sanding it around or the way that we want. So the next step, once we've got all the shape, and I did use some tools to dig this out a little bit more, and I've started to sand it, is sanding. We got quite a bit of sanding to do. I like to use this sandpaper. It's got a cloth backing on it. It's the same stuff that we use on the big belt sanders. And then you can really just dig in there and sand and sand and sand until it's pretty smooth. So we'll go with a 120, and then we'll go to 220, 320, and all the way to 420 sandpaper in the next few minutes here. And then we're gonna oil it, and it'll be done. So we're almost done, just a few hours of sanding. It takes a long time. It's quite a bit of work, especially inside here. So this is always my favorite part. I've got it all sanded down to a 400 grit sandpaper. It's pretty smooth. It looks good. Clean out the letters a little bit. So we're going to use some Danish oil, natural finish, and it'll really brighten this up. So like I said, this is my favorite part, when you put a bit of oil on a rag and then put it onto this dark walnut. And it really shines. It really looks good. It brings out the grain pattern, brings out the beauty of the wood very quickly. So I'll do one coat, and then I'll sand it, and then I'll do another coat. And there you go. It is a beautiful, personalized, dark walnut wooden spoon.